computer. So welcome everyone on this special webinar with our global ambassador Bisila Bokoko from New York. Well, actually from Spain, with her roots in a beautiful African country. So you're going to share more about that. Before we start, I really want to ask you if there's anyone who objects of having this session recorded. No? Okay, so then we're going to start. So Bisila, well, just before that we know each other now for quite a couple of years, and but I thought, well, you know, let's have a look at her profile and see what extra she's doing so that I can do a great introduction. But there's so much on that list that I didn't know where to start, where to end, and what to pick from, etc. But anyhow, for those who don't know you, I did pick some important things. You're based in New York, that's what I mentioned, and you are a UN award-winning entrepreneur. You're a global leadership speaker and writer. You're a founder and CEO of BBES consultancy firm, founder and CEO of Bisila Wines and Cavas. That must be the link with Spain. Yes. You have your own non-for-profit, Bisila Bokoko African Literacy Projects, that starts libraries in African countries. And of course, you're a global ambassador of Female Wave of Change. Is there anything important that you feel that you want to add?
I think I'm a mother.
Oh, that's very important.
That's very important to add. Mother and wife.
Well, it is good that you mentioned that, because I do think that, you know, we ended up in this situation right now with this huge challenge, worldwide challenge of the COVID virus. And we did go more back to our roots. We did go back to the things that really matter.
Absolutely.
So being a mother, being a wife, being a daughter, you just mentioned that you have your parents still living in Spain. Those things are very important and becoming more important in situations like that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, you know, I prepared some questions, but then I thought, well, you know, let's just have a look at what is going on right now. You know, if you look at the world and the situation that we're in, what do you see?
Well, I see huge changes happening, and I have a tendency, of course, to see the world with the more optimistic glasses possible. So I think we all have this choice, and we could focus on the negative, and of course we live in a very challenging times, but I also know that changes only come from that place. When we are in a very comfortable position, people don't take the role of leadership. And I think that when you have all lined up around you and you don't have really a cause, and you are comfortable in the status quo, you don't want to change the status quo. But right now, we all facing so many challenges, and it's like everything, all the issues that we really have in this world are coming up for us to look at them and look these things in the eye and see where are we going from this. And this is a reflection that we have to do all like a society. And we also came back to the basics, like you very wisely said. What is really important as a society? Who we really are and where are we going from here? I think we're coming from a structure that it was the patriarchal structure in the 20th century. And what this century it's revealing us is that we need to balance that both energies that is so important for all of us, the feminine energy and the masculine energy. So what we are looking at right now is very painful. And of course, we have a lot of things to overcome, but it's also a way for us to go and as a society make a reflection. We're doing this, of course, individually, but also we are doing this like a society. And this is my view, that we have to look at the light after the tunnel, because there is light, obviously.
The thing is, Bisila, I hear a lot of women speak about, you know, we needed this time. We needed this time of reflection. And this can only bring us good.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you feel?
I feel the same way, right? I think we were in a wheel, you know, that we could not really see anything. And I didn't even realize how busy I was, how much I was traveling, and how many things it was in my plate. And I could not really make a decision about what you should pay attention to. And I think this time has been extremely important for all of us, because we really have the possibility to stop, just at least to just stop for a while. And also we have realized that, do we really want to go back in being running, and particularly women? I mean, the impact of this crisis has been completely different in women than in men, because what happened with the homeschooling? I mean, women are very involved in the homeschooling, and on top of that, they already had a lot of things to take care of. So all of the systems that they were able to help us, like the schools, the teachers, childcare, they're not there anymore. So suddenly so many things fall into plate, right? So we also have a possibility to realize how much we were doing. We were doing so much, right? And on top of that, now to have time and really look at what things I really want to do with my life. Do I really need to run like a chicken without a head the whole day without even have time to breathe? And I think that this is the reason why when we go and we look at our lives, the older you get, you have more time to reflect on what has happened with you and what have you contributed and what impact you're going to leave. The question is always how much present I was really, because even when you read my resume, I don't even know when I did all these things. I have no idea.
It's longer, I can tell you.
Sometimes I'm thinking, oh my God, I really didn't have the time to really enjoy every single project or doing anything, because it was like I wasn't there, because somehow you're doing one thing and you're just looking at the next thing. And I think that now this requirement of being present and stop, it's been, for me, it's a gift. It's a gift that the universe has given us, all of us. Just breathe, just stop for a while.
Yeah. That is so true. So let us look at a bigger perspective, and then going back to you personally. So if you envision the world, the future, what would you like to see?
I mean, it's a sentence that always says that the future is female. And what I mean by that is not without the masculine, it's all together. And you see, I think men are also appreciating the value that it is into embrace the feminine, because we all have realized that leadership is, we have to rethink, what do we understand by leadership? And what kind of values the feminine bring into the table? And it's actually breathing. It's one of the values that we're bringing into the table. Compassion, to really have empathy. All of these values are not only values that serve us like women. Because as a matter of fact, until this point, anytime we understood leadership, we understood it with the lenses of what was leadership from the male perspective. Mm-hmm. So in this case, not only them have to embrace the feminine, also us, we have to embrace the feminine, because we've been acting from a very masculine way of doing it. And you need both energies, because if the energy of female is a little bit more passive and reflective, and it has other values, we also need the action and the execution, and we need the strength. So both energies, they have to interweave and work together. It is not one and another. And it doesn't mean that now the era of feminine is coming and that men have no voice and they're not going to be able to do anything in this world. We're not saying that. We just realize that the way that we advance like a society requires at this point different tools, because we have evolved like a society. Thank God we evolve. And evolution means that now we need to create new ways of connect with the world that we want to build. And in this case, we have a future, and it's extremely great. And instead of just, we are still fighting, and we should change a little bit the narrative, because that was all the structures. And these structures now, there is a structure that we need to build new. And that's what the conversation should go. It's, okay, the narrative, we understand where we are. And this was something that our grandparents, our great-grandparents, everybody built. But now we have to build something completely new. For that to happen, we could not be in a fighting mood. We have to be in a creative mood, because we have to choose, do you want to interact from the victim perspective, or you want to do the creative perspective? And now this is what we have to do. We have to be in creative mood. And women, we do have that. We have inner wisdom that we haven't used, and it has been suffocated for years and generations. And now we have the opportunity to just lift up others through that energy that is coming, and with our inner wisdom and our way to do things. And let's not only reflect, we also need the male energy to move things forward. So we have to connect both, because both energies live within us. So with those energies in alignment and in harmony, we're going to be able to work very well together. So the future is amazing.
I agree with you totally. And the last couple of weeks, we have really been working on a document. You know, we really wanted to make a formal statement. How do we envision the future? And what is it that we as Female Wave of Change want to contribute? And, you know, we have been really rewriting the document, and especially about, you know, how do you approach this? And first of all, you feel like you have to share what is not good right now and what we have to change and things like that. And then it is, we are going to urge governments and global leaders that they will do all kinds of things. And then we say, this is not what is going on. And this is all about us. This is all about, we are going to create it. And there is no time for ego. There is no time for only women or only men or only governments or only politics. We have to do it together. And that is also how we have been working now. We're finally finalizing the document. And Tanya and Pam, they have been working closely with us to do this. But we are really going to do this together, and really also inviting them to join us in doing this. So it is a challenge, but that is good. So okay, so we have this. We envision that future as something that is, as I always stated, something to be proud of for the future generations. You know, we have to leave a legacy, and it has to be so much different, better, more conscious, more connected, more human, that you create a world like that for your children, and my situation and Mom Yvonne's situation, their grandchildren. You know, we really want it to look, we want to be proud to leave it that way. But now to you, more as you, as an individual and as an entrepreneur and as an NGO founder, etc., etc. So what is it that you're going to do different?
Many things. I mean, I think this year has been an end of an era for me in terms of changing the structures. First of all, in order to change something, you have to realize that something is not working any longer, or you have to come to the realization that this that served you before, it doesn't longer serve you. So for me, this time has been really a realization that I was always operating with my masculine energy. So it's the way I negotiated, it's the way that I achieved the things that I wanted to. And I was also not paying attention to emotions, not so much, right? And kind of stay away from everything that had to do with the feminine way of doing things. But if you asked me a year ago, maybe I would tell you, of course, I'm connected with all of that. But I didn't realize that until I really have the time to really understand myself better, and how my fears, when you are in a situation that you have to take decisions and you see your business is collapsing and things are not moving, and then is when you start listening, right? So in my case, the moment that I have to look at the situation, explain the team, what's going on, what we're going to do forward and everything. Then is when I have realized from what place I want to operate. Because I realized that I was operating from the action plan, tac, 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 tac. In this moment, I said, no, I need to operate from empathy. What is people feeling here? Maybe it's time for us to stop and just listening to what the team really needs. So that's another a big change. And also rethinking what leadership, because leadership is all about making people better. But in order to make people better, you have to build yourself better. Mm-hmm. So I also have to really focus on how could I build myself better. So for me, it has been a moment of really inner work, a lot of inner work, and changing things, and also realizing that this perfectionism, it's a huge block that it was there all the time. And women, we suffer that more than men because we always have to demonstrate something. And in my case, by the way I grew up, through my very challenging childhood, because I grew up in a country that I was the only one, the only Black person in the room all the time. I have African parents that they try to impose in certain ways of the African traditions and collapse sometimes with the Western world. So I was very confused and I had to find my own identity. So my way of protection was just do it. There is no other way that you just do it. So I realized that this served me to achieve many, many things, but I also didn't ask myself the right questions because I put so much weight in my shoulders all the time that I don't have time to breathe myself. So yes, I'm going to do the things completely different. I think it's been, for me, a way to really self-knowledge, to go to that self-knowledge and understanding that sometimes fear manifests in the way of perfectionism, achievements, and all of this. And understanding that it's okay if I fail, no matter how many times I do, and it's okay to start over, and it's okay not to have to shine in everything that you do, and it's okay to say no to something. And if a project don't work and you have to let it go, it's also okay. So that's my biggest lesson.
Maybe you should have done the Women Leading and Change program. I knew Renee was thinking it. It was all the subjects, you know, that I thought, yeah, of course, yeah, would have been great. But anyhow, I want to go more into, because we really want to tap also into your entrepreneurial part. Because right now, you know, there's also the whole economic situation is you know, is affecting also already some of us, but there will be more. And so if you look at the opportunities, and we really need to start creating those opportunities together, and we can do that on that global scale. If you look at new marketplaces, because I know entrepreneurs are always looking for new opportunities, and even if you don't want to, you do, you see the opportunities. So if you would give someone an advice, you know, wherever they are in the world, so what kind of opportunities do you see really growing, really popping up in the next couple of months, maybe the year?
Well, I see plenty of opportunities because honestly, we're going to go into a very collaborative economy. The economy is going to change, and we all realize that the structures of the economy is not supporting, and you could not expect governments or jobs taking care of you. So the entrepreneur is going to take a huge part of the society right now, because a lot of people are going to have to be responsible for themselves. And I know that it's a lot of people, and women more than men, that are affected with losing jobs. And all of this, it's going to have us to take action in the sense of, okay, what can I do, right? And take for myself. There is certain sectors that people don't realize, but it's the traditional sectors like agriculture. We're coming back and we have realized how important is health and nutrition and everything. So all of these sectors that has to do with taking care of ourselves within, starting by nutrition, are very great sectors. People are realizing also that for us to fight any kind of disease, it matters how much care you have done before. And to have your immune system strong, it's key. So any kind of, I mean, I have realized how many people have been smart and immediately they start doing business in that sense, and they start to make profit right away within the crisis, immediately. And I have seen people creating different products to connect with the vitamins. I think it's a huge amount of projects in Africa that products that have proven to be extremely great for the immune system, like baobab, moringa, all of these products. And I think that now even all the ancient grains, just to give you an example, it has been a 30% increase in the consumption of all these grains from Africa, just in the United States, because things like fonio, that I never heard before, but during this time, people are starting to just look for sources to be stronger. And all of these people, even honey from Ethiopia, I have seen they sell it here for $25. They have different benefits and vitamins, and the people really have buy that. So I think this is everything that has to do with nutrition, agriculture, organic foods. Everybody is very connected to that. Mm-hmm. And I say that to just move a little bit forward for the technology that of course is obvious, but there is other sectors that maybe they're not so obvious, but I see that coming. Also, everything that has to do with education. Education is going to be a huge, huge future, particularly not only the education that has to do with online education. When we are able to move to the physical world back again, I think education is going to be key. In a normal way of education. So everybody who has very revolutionary ways of the new education in a more Socratic way, and allowing the children to really find themselves the answers of how the world should work, this has been extremely important, I think. So education is another area of exploration, anything that has to do with education, but the new education, because also we have realized that the current structures is not teaching our children to cope with the world that we want them to build, right? They're gonna build a better world. So I think that is also important. And of course, in technology, everything that you could move from the physical world to the digital, it's going to be extremely important. Also, other mechanisms for finances. And I mentioned that because all of the banking system, the way it has been built, it is based in a very masculine way of doing. And if you realize, that's the reason why we want a credit for our business, and it's a female-oriented business, it's very difficult for women to have access to capital, because people don't feel that it is important, the business that sometimes we propose. So when a woman has a masculine business, yes, but what happened with the business that has to do with women and everything with women's health? It's another area of exploration that we are very far away from understanding what is the female needs about the body and everything. So it's another way that I think is going to be very powerful. Everything women oriented is going to be very powerful in business. So there's a huge opportunity. I think there is many, many business, and we should not look only in artificial intelligence or digital. I think you should look back into the basics.
Okay, well, it's good to say that if you look at the statement we are going to publish this week, I think we have 5 key areas. Humanity, of course, that's one. There's health, there's education, and specifically describe what you just mentioned. There is environment, that is a very important one, and I'm losing one, economy, of course. So there's already a lot of things, and I like it that Gladys is online, and I had an interview with Gladys this afternoon, and Gladys is also a specialist on microfinance, and especially for women, small entrepreneurs. So that is also one of the things that we really have to look into. So thank you for that. There's one last item, and then we're going to unmute everyone. So if you have questions, please get them ready. We've been talking a lot last couple of days also, but the last couple of weeks also with the statement, a lot about, not just women being affected by the crisis more than men, but Black women even being more affected than anyone else. How do you see that we can step into this situation and support them to take the next step? What can we do?
Well, the first thing we have to realize is that we have to see everybody like one. I mean, the first thing is that we could not say white women, Black women, Indian women, everything. We are all women. And of course, we are more affected because the race issue still is so powerful. So we also have to see ourselves like a human race all at once, because otherwise we're always going to be in that sense of separation. I have my issues, you have your issues. And it's really issues of humanity, like one. And in this case, I think that we need the help of everyone. Of course, we need the support between us, like Black sisters, yes. But we are sisters of you too. So we all have to work together, because every issue of a woman is a human issue. So it doesn't matter what is the color of the skin, it's affecting us somehow, because we are all together in this, right? So I think that the perspective is that we all have to be more united. And I think that's a call of action also within ourselves, like the Black women in general, that we have to work also like one, and also don't separate ourselves also from the other women, because there is women. I mean, when I travel, I realize that all women around the world face the same things. I mean, there is no issue of Black or white. I think it's because we have the racial situation that, of course, we are in a situation of more vulnerability. But this is because you could see what's happening right now here in New York City and all over the world, how this have make a call of attention that we are still looking at ourselves like separate entities. We're not looking at us like one. So of course, women, if women already are in the Western world, women have already in a position of disadvantage. And already we have the race issue. Of course, the Black women is the last one in the scale. So we have to face much more challenges in general. But this could be solved. First of all, we have to solve the race issue, important, and also realize that this is a problem of all of us.
It is, yeah. Thank you. Well, ladies, any questions? Now's your chance.
I have muted some people, so I don't know whether they can unmute themselves. Oh, Gladys is unmuting herself. Yeah, that's really okay.
Thank you very much, Renee and Ingen, for this meeting. My question is, I want to ask that how do you balance the mother role of schooling your children in this lockdown? I'm finding it very difficult for kids, and all of them are still needing my attention so that they do their online school very well. So even if we are now working from home, but this is now a new normal because you are not qualified and trained teacher, but you are also like a co-teacher and things like that. So how do you balance the house roles, your online business, and the online schooling for the children as a woman, as a mother in this lockdown?
I will say that I need teamwork. I mean, without I mean, it's very difficult to do everything by yourself. There is so many things that I don't even remember. I don't know how to help my kids with what they're studying. So it's a challenge for me to be able to be a co-teacher, because they work now with iPads and with everything. They use completely different ways, and I'm far away from being so connected with the technical advances that they require in the studies and the things. So I really have to self-teach myself. And a lot of times I did some tutorials and things like that to see how you do something. Consulting with other parents, I think, is very important also, to speak with other mothers and other parents. In the schools here, there is a huge parent association, and we do Zoom calls weekly to see how we could serve better the children. So the Association of Parents has take care of that. And also I have to slow down in business. I mean, honestly, it is a point that you could not do just everything. And the kids at the beginning had a lot of challenges to just adjust to the new ways of doing. And now with the finals and how they're supposed to study, to do everything online, it's very difficult. And I would say just take a deep breath, love yourself, and see that each day, it's a new day, and don't take everything that you have to do everything perfect. There is some days that you just have to focus in the kids being okay, and you just have to put yourself aside for a while, and just have your times to rest. That's another thing that I have to do, is self-care, because if I don't have the energy, I could not serve anyone. So just take good care of yourself. You have 4 children, it's a lot of work. And now it's a time that, sometimes everybody understand if you not answer an email in 24 hours because you've been super busy. Everybody understand the situation. Everything, could wait till tomorrow. So don't worry about that.
Thank you.
Oh, Tanya.
Thank you. Thank you, Bisila. I enjoy so much your authenticity, vulnerability. I'm just drowning in it. So thank you. It resembles with me when you said at the beginning, I'm looking at more optimistically at it. I try to see it optimistically, and the word now is really everything is up. Mm-hmm. So how to, in a way, harmonize this, making changes, being authentic, solving so many issues at once, and then mentioning that we women tend to do too much. From my personal experience and also working with people, we first think, what else can I do? What more can I do? Not what I should stop doing or what I can stop doing and do instead to be more, effective. But then I'm really interested how you see it, that we go through, because now it's changing time. It's not one change.
Well, one of the first things that we need to realize is that if we are empty cups, nobody could drink from an empty cup. And in this case, you have to fill up your cup first. And it's a moment of unlearning, undoing, and just we women, we always say yes. We all learn so much to say yes. And why we don't really learn to say no to some things? I mean, and that's also what you're gonna remain you to be optimistic, because you also see that when you are so tired and you are really facing fatigue, it's very difficult to see the world with optimism glasses. You could try, but you are really going against the current because of that. And another thing also is allow yourself to feel. I mean, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was very sad and I was scared. And instead of, being positive doesn't mean that you have to be, oh, everything is wonderful, and you're not seeing the reality. It is okay to feel, but you allow yourself to feel what you feel, and then you keep going. And I always say the same. Now, people ask me, are you in fear when you're an entrepreneur? Of course I'm in fear. I don't think in 8 years that I've been working by myself, I don't have any week that I could have a panic attack at one moment, because I have fear. The question is, before, I was always avoiding to be in fear because it's like, no, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see that the world is just collapsing. I just want to see the positive. That is not the way. The way is understanding that from that situation, that fear is giving you amazing information. That pain that the world is suffering right now is giving us a huge amount of information. And with that information, what are we going to do? What means being positive is when I see the situation, I feel it. I allow myself to feel the way I feel about it, but at the same time, it's a transformative energy. That's when the alchemy is done. I mean, I know that from the negative, you create from metal gold, but you have to understand first that this is metal. You see, so in this case, it's the same thing. Like a human being, you could be positive, but you could understand, okay, I'm not feeling so well. I'm super tired right now. My business is not going. I know that the economy is not in my favor at this point. Maybe my kids are driving me nuts. I mean, they are also scared. You have to definitely, I mean, they have so many questions. My daughter is going to go to college this year. She don't know if she's going to be able to go, if it's going to be another outbreak, what she's going to do. So if I'm an empty cup, it is no way that I could serve everyone around me. So honestly, I have to put myself together first, but to put yourself together first means, okay, I look myself in the mirror and I say, okay, right now I'm not feeling well at all. And I understand it, I allow, and I see what is this information telling me? Because how many times fear and pain is in our head only? You're not living the situation yet. And the economy still is not collapsed. We already saw that the economy is collapsed. We already saw the negative in it. And we are just living in the moment. So you have the power to change your attitude. That's the only thing you could do. And that's what I mean to being optimistic. It doesn't mean that you live in an illusionary world that you don't see what's happening. It means that from that perspective, you're going to take the best choice. You're going to take the best attitude possible and being real about it. You know, I mean, it's okay it's human emotion, so it's fine. And this is also what feminine give us, that how many times you just need to cry and you feel so well afterwards. And then you realize, you know what? I really needed this because I was telling this narrative to myself, and in this narrative started increasing in your head so much. But once you cry it out, once you just mad because you're mad and you just take it out, then you can start realizing, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not really affecting me in that way. I could take care of me. I could do this. And that's the thing. Then you just make this transformation within, and you realize that you have the resilience and you are capable to just change that narrative. So then everything is fine.
Bisila, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Please courier that shirt to South Africa, please. After the session.
It's yours. I give it to you.
Thank you, and you know, I think the message has really been good. Question that I want to ask you is: you've been running an NGO, right, for a while. One of the things, and I was chatting with Ingun about it earlier, it just hit me that there is so much money out there in embassies and governments in terms of getting to grants. And I don't think as women, we are taking advantage of that. Mm-hmm. So where you have, accessed, some money from a government, what tips can you give us? I just went on to the US.
USDA, they have a lot of help.
I see in South Africa, they've got grants for gender-based violence. The Netherlands have grants for, development of women. And I sat there and I thought, I wonder how many women actually know that there is so much money out there. So I'm asking, as a way of helping us as we run, female wave of change in our various countries, what tips can you give us when we want to access this money?
Well, I will say that there is a lot of money out there, that is true, but the thing is the lack of information. And because women, sometimes we're not in the networks where this information, it's running, we don't know. So many times it's been in different conversations that people point out to me, oh, you know what, there is this grant, why you don't apply for this is amazing. And also it's a network. And of course, it happens that these networks, women, sometimes we don't have the access to, because sometimes it's people who are in different boards of directors, they have these high rank positions and they have this access to information. So the number one thing is that we need to have access to that information, because we don't have the information. So many people don't know that they could study here in universities, that there is fellowships, there is so many things, and it's because they don't have the information. So the number one priority for us is to really create kind of a listing of all the grants possible. And this is a work of all of us, because there is a lot of information about banking out there, finances for small businesses in agriculture or in technology. But the thing is that there is not a one platform that you could go and have everything. So probably we will have to build our own platform where everyone with the information that they have, they could line up and people could go and say, oh, okay, this is the things that are available for that. And also, there is one other thing, and I think that there is more women trying to also create more investors circles to help other women, because it is so many done for not for men only, right? But men create a lot of incubators and things. I mean, I'm part of some of them, and normally the founders are men. They have this idea to help young entrepreneurs, and just they come with the idea, and women jump in, and of course everybody has this availability. But I think also that we have to encourage women to also create platforms that serve women. Women entrepreneurs have the responsibility. I always say that one of the biggest responsibility we have with women is that when you are up in the ladder, you have to grab the hand of somebody else, because you don't want to be the only one there. So in this case, is the only way is that we help each other, and that we put all that resources for ourselves, right? And we have to create that resources. And NGOs face a lot of challenges, but I think it's a great time now for us, for all of the NGOs. I think it's a wonderful time, and I tell you why. It's because all of these problems that we have, who are being the people solving them? I could tell you in Spain, all of this situation has been solved by NGOs. Not the governments, absolutely the opposite has happened. All of these issues has been solved by small NGOs. And you see, NGOs have the possibility to work with very little conditions. They do magic. In this case, just with the little help that they need, they could do amazing things. They could operate wonders. So I think that we need to find out this information, and also we have to encourage to create ourselves resources to help these NGOs that cater to women specifically, which I think is good, because if you help these NGOs run by women for women, we help in also the whole society that involves, and they help. Because we don't make a difference between, I'm not helping women, doesn't mean that you're not helping everyone else. You have boys, we born women and men, so for us it's for everyone. So I think that we need to definitely work on that. And also don't give up right now. I know there is challenges. Even myself, my libraries are right now functioning in a very low capacity. We had a project in Senegal, and I have to stop it all together, and I couldn't finish this library this year, but we're not finishing. We're just realizing new creative ways to continue to work and do things. So hold into it. If you're running a foundation, it's not the moment to give up, it's the opposite. It's the moment to just hold into it, looking for the resources, reach out, and also don't be scared to open up yourself to the network. Women, we're very shy in that sense, and we don't like to ask for favors and ask for too much information. If your friend, you see that she got a grant, ask her, how did you get this? And help each other to do the application, to do what is requirement, and just information is out there.
Thank you. Good question, Tabello. Where's the money? The money is not just gone, it's still there. We just have to find it. Yeah. Anymore, one more question, because we're...
Yes, I need to ask, okay, first let me say thank you so much, Ingrid and Renee. I needed this so much. I know how to give and share, but I don't know how to charge. And I guess we need the balance. But Bisila, just listening to you and watching that environment, I can feel the harmony. So would like you to share with us any processes or ideas or tips? What gave you that balance? And it comes from what you shared with us, which I think is a challenge for all of us, healing the inner wounds. Because how do you embrace other races if you still have historical issues and if you still embedded within the tenets of slavery? So that, I think, it would take us a long way, because if you see the oneness in all of us, that would help. So I'd really like to know that what gave you, listening to you, you can just feel the nurturer, the intercessor, the connector, and all of that. I've got two questions. The last one would be, what are your ideas around the impact of technology on our health? Because right now we are all locked down. We are on phones, on computers, and everything else. But we don't want that now 10, 20 years later. So we're back to a different kind of virus that comes from technology. So those are my two questions.
Thank
and
you.
I don't know what you're reading in that background of books.
Thank you so much for your question. That's an amazing question, and I love the question because I grew up in a place where I have always a sense of separation. I was not like all of the kids. And I remember the first time I came from the school and I told my father, somebody called me black in class. I was 7 or 8. And my father said, look in the mirror, what color are you? And he told me, you have two problems. You're black and you're a woman. You have to deal with this. And when you're a kid, you don't want to be different. You don't want to be different. And my grandparents, when they came from Africa, they come from colonization. They've been living like that. And I remember when they say, oh, in terms of colony, we were living better because we have butter that came from London because of this. So they have this belief that everything that you have to chase in this world, somebody has to come and give it to you. And through that situation that you're trying to fit in a world where you are different, I realized that I have to make a decision. You could see yourself like different, or you could see yourself like a special. And that's a big, big, big leap over there. Because if you see yourself different, you are separating from others, and you are coming from a place of not being in gratitude. You are all the opposite. You only focus on things you don't have. That makes you different from others. But when you make the choice to be a special, then you know that you have many gifts that you could give to the world. And I use that gift. And the color of my skin, for me, it has been a gift. It has worked absolutely in my advantage, only because I make that shift in the way I think. Instead of always thinking from the victim perspective, I think from the creative perspective. So this is my superpower. Being black is my superpower. And this is a choice, right? And also, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of, I spoke with somebody who has disabilities, and she told me the same. I mean, this is the reason why she could move through the wall and inspire others, because she realized that sometimes our conditions could be a gift, and that's your choice. If you think this is a special thing that I have and I'm gonna use it. And what gave me the balance was to understand that the worst enemy is always within. It's not out there. So once you really conquer that enemy that is within, and the enemy that told me you're not enough, you're not like everybody else, and that enemy, which is our inner voice, always talking to just remind you how you're not in the same level of others, and it's just sinking you in depression and in feeling that you're never going to achieve your dreams. So I think I was very young, exposed to personal development books, and I started to read them and also applying what they say and change my way of thinking. So my mindset changed completely. And then I realized, you know what, I could just do what I want with the world. And I just overcome every step. I remember when they told me, oh, it's impossible that you go to New York. I was in a company and I asked them, I want to go to New York. And my boss told me, it's gonna be impossible because you don't know no one. Your family doesn't come from people from the government. They're not connected. And at the same time, you are just the kid of an immigrant. And I heard that, and I say, I hear you, but I'm not gonna allow this to stop me. And I told her, it wasn't my boss, and I told her, you know what, I understand your point, but I want you to still try. I want you to try to speak with the big boss and send me to New York. And I don't listen to what she was saying. I mean, I could hear it, but I don't listen. I don't make it part of me. It's not gonna be my narrative. So I always choose what is part of my narrative that I want to integrate in my system, and the narratives that it's not connected with my alignment. And this gives me the peace. And of course, to feel that it's something bigger than us, and just have this God living within you. And really, there is sometimes that when I don't feel strong enough, and it's of course many times, when something gets bigger than I know there is a bigger power that I could reach and say, you know what, this is too much for me. Right now, take care of this, because I'm this point, I'm depleted of energy, I feel sad, and I face situations where, of course, it could be perceived like racism, it could be perceived like sexism. Of course, in my journey, I face many situations, but I just choose not to be part of my narrative. I mean, I want a different narrative to inspire the new generations that if you have the right mindset, heart set, and soul set, you're gonna change your story. And that's my way of seeing the world, is I could do that and do it in harmony, because there is one law that applies to all of us, and it's the law of love. I see everyone, God in them. So there is no way that when I see someone from different race, I don't see a part of myself in them. And in this case, I risk this situation that I'm not part of them. I'm part of them, and I love everyone. And I have friends from all races. I work with people from all races in my team. There is Chinese, there is Mexican, there is Congolese, there is all kind of people coming from all over the world. And this is the way that I wanted to do my life. So that's the first question. Which I extended, but I needed to give you a little bit of background to understand how I got there.
Yes,
and technology, it's gonna have an effect in us. And I think we have to be very careful with the use of technology. I'm very skeptical about thinking that machines could replace everything, because one thing that never can be replaced is the contact that we have. They looking some people in the eye. And if we were in the same room, this energy that we're creating right here, it will increase exponentially. It will increase 3 more times, because we will be feeling each other. We will be giving ourselves a hug, and this will be amazing, right? So I think, just to give you an example, I have a friend who runs a company in America, and she brings people from different countries to summer camps. And somebody tell her, oh, what are you gonna do this year? Maybe you could do this digital. And she said, no, because it's the opposite of what I want for the new generations. I want that kids, when they get to the camps, stay away from the phones for 15 days and they are in connection with the nature. And if I have to give up this business that so far has been my bread and butter, I will, because it's against my principle to create this experience digitally. And I connected so much with her when she said that, because it's true. There is something that we could never replace through technology. Technology is a tool. It's a bridge for us to be doing what we're doing today, and it's wonderful. But I don't think that nature and the human contact could be replaced ever by technology. So we have to always be careful to don't go to the whole extreme that we create robots and instead of people, human beings. So I'm a little bit skeptical to just translate everything in digital. I think it's a hybrid. In a hybrid society where we balance both, it's perfect. It's helpful. It's amazing that we use it. I love technology and I use it, and actually has helped me a lot in my business, but I still want to do business face to face with people, and I still want to hug everyone.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Well, that was the last question, ladies. So the 30 minutes became almost an hour, and you know, it is. I think there was a lot of inspiration, a lot of moments, a lot of aha moments that we all had, and thought, okay, yes, of course, you know things, but you know, you don't act on it, and don't really behave on what you feel that you should be doing. So I think for each and every one of us, there are learning moments, and I thank you for that. Want to really thank you for being here today, and give us all the inspiration that we needed. And of course it will be online, so you will inspire a lot more women than only us, even more than us. So thank you very much. Thank you all who were here today, and wish you a wonderful day, and let's create some waves.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes, yes, thanks
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.